Resilience is one of the most important competencies. In fact, it helps you answer the question, do you have the right attitude? Resilience is composed of 4 sub-competencies: perseverance, courage, resourcefulness, and adaptability. Let me start by telling you a story about perseverance. So I mentor and coach a lot of young people. And so I was coaching this one really dynamic kid. I mean, he graduated with a 4.0 GPA, summa cum laude, and president of his class. I mean, this is 100% true to the story. So I'm talking with him one day, and he tells me he wants to go to law school. Well, I said, that's great. He said, well, Ron, I haven't had the most traditional path. I actually took some time out. I'm a little bit older than most of the students. I go, well, that doesn't sound like a problem. What were you doing? He goes, well, I was in prison. I go, okay. He goes, well, it was non-violent, it was non-drug related crime, but I actually did do the crime and I served my time and I spent 5 years, and when I got out, I went to college and now I'm here where I am. And so I thought about that for a second. I said, I'm not telling you to lead with this, to walk into an interview saying I was incarcerated, but I wouldn't shy away from that story. I mean, you're a textbook case for perseverance. And that's a really powerful competency that organizations are looking for. And so I wanted to test that theory out. So I called up a good buddy of mine who was a dean at a major college, a major law school, and told him the story. And he told me, Ron, that's exactly the type of kid we want here at our school. He's demonstrated the ability to overcome adversity and then excel at a level that most people just never do. And so as I tell you this story, I want you to think about those moments where you've overcome adversity. We all have. We've all have challenges. Don't be afraid to talk about those challenges, but you want to talk about them in a way where it demonstrates that you can overcome them and then excel and achieve some level of greatness. Now, I bet you're wondering why courage is in this conversation. But organizations are always looking for courageous people, right? They need people that can step out of their comfort zone, that are willing to take a risk and a chance to do something that may be a little bit more challenging, a little bit more difficult, something that frankly scares them a little bit. Here's a better way of thinking about it. They need people who are comfortable being uncomfortable. But I mean, think about it. It doesn't make a lot of sense when you say it the first time, comfortable being uncomfortable. But what causes people to be uncomfortable? Failure in most cases. But you can't be afraid to fail. And those who aren't afraid to fail, or they realize that the repercussions of failure are not that great, can be comfortable then being uncomfortable. Thomas Edison has a great quote. While he was inventing the light bulb, he said, I haven't failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that haven't worked. So Thomas Edison was able to overcome the fear of failure. And because of that, he was able to achieve greatness. So you need to ask yourself, when are you comfortable being uncomfortable? Resourcefulness is another sub-competency of perseverance. I personally love resourcefulness. That's a person that can get things done when they don't have all the tools that everyone else needs. And, if you work for me, one of the phrases that you commonly hear me say is, figure it out. Like, I would love to give you all of the time, all of the money, all of the people you need, but I can't. I'm an entrepreneur. So figure it out. And I'm not alone like that. I mean, whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you work for Fortune 500 companies, most organizations will always complain that they don't have the resources they need to get things done. Google, Apple, big organizations. And what they shout down to their people are, figure it out. And so you need to think back into times where you've had to solve a problem or complete a project where you didn't have the money or the time or the people that most people might have in order to do that same problem. And you figured it out. Most organizations are looking for people who are adaptable. I mean, it's almost a necessity in today's world. because we live in what I like to call a VUCA world. VUCA stands for volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous, right? I mean, we live in a world of North Korea, of artificial intelligence, financial crises, terrorism, right? Organizations, governments, no one has any idea what's going to happen next. And consequently, you need people that you can put in circumstances that can respond based on whatever those exogenous forces are, right? Somebody that can change their behavior, change their attitude in order to get things done. Ask that question. When have you been in an environment that you were really uncertain about? When is the questions that came up that were super complex or ambiguous and no one was there to give you full clarity on how to either solve the problem or how to move forward, right? That's the challenge in today's world, and that's what people are really looking for in new candidates to join their company.